I was really scared of the water when I was younger. And I'd have to go in like a rubber ring with my armbands on, and my mum would have to hold on to me. And then I think one day I just got in and I didn't get out for like 15 years. I just loved the water more than anything. It was more natural to me than walking. And I would stay in for like 8 hours until my fingers were pruned. Yeah, I think it felt like home. And then I did my first competition when I was about 6 years old. And then after that, I was hooked. I came home from that competition and I drew a picture for my mum of me in a costume with a comically large gold medal around my neck. And I said, this is me when I win the Olympics. It felt like that was what I was supposed to do. When I moved to the UK at 13, it was this really intense culture shock for me. So I was still kind of barefoot and climbing trees, and it was like the era of skins here and makeup and Primark and boys and rolling your skirt up at school. We were young adolescent girls developing bodies and being looked at, being kind of half naked on poolside most of the time. I was the only black swimmer on poolside most of the time as well. And so it felt like this kind of, I guess, double gaze. I don't know if we ever find a way of letting go of that. It's so baked into every institution and also into the way that society has organized itself that women will be looked at. And there's some scrutiny and some value judgment around what your body presents as and how close that is to ideals. For me also to the universality of kind of whiteness as being an ideal. The idea that black people don't swim is so bizarre to me. I grew up in Kenya. It was only black people who swam there. For a really long time, being the first black woman to swim for Great Britain, I'd get out of the pool and people would shove a microphone in my face and be like, well, why don't black people swim? And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm 17. I think this idea that anyone, just because it's their lived experience, is going to have all the answers is incorrect. We need to put pressure on institutions to change themselves from the inside out. One, I think talking about our experiences in a way that is open and honest and acknowledging like what hasn't changed and that not enough has changed. Certainly in the 10 plus years since I retired from elite sport, for example, the outlawing of Soul Cap for FINA events, that doesn't really have anything to do with performance. It wasn't going to make anyone any faster. In fact, it probably would have done the opposite. What that signals to a whole group of people who look like me is that we don't care about your ability to feel more comfortable in this space, or we're not going to demonstrate that including you is important to our agenda. And so I think those are the conversations that we need to have. After the re-eruption of the BLM movement in 2020 and then Alice Dearing qualifying for the Olympics, my name came up in the press and media, and that was the first time that I'd had to confront that stuff again, 10 years on from having walked away from it. And I wanted to explore what my story could do for other people. And so I wrote a book. It is a story of coming of age. It is about race and racism in sporting institutions, but it's also mainly about my relationship with intensity, with pain, with perfection, and my love of the water. I think sport has this really unifying power. It's the best of humanity and it's so democratic. It's so able to cut through so much of the politics that we don't seem to be able to get through in any other way. And I think the Olympics is the best of that. It really represents how much sport can be this driving change for good.